Hey everybody, Ken Saad-Kunum, Dan DeFay, North Star Technology Group, and you're here with 3 minutes with Ken and Dan. Dan, how's it going? How's your week?
Going well. It's been a busy week. As you know, we have an incident response that we're in the middle of right now.
Yep,
Um,
I'm well aware. So what happened? Why
yeah,
are we involved in this?
so basically, about a year ago, we did a risk assessment for a company out in California, and they did not go with any of our recommendations. And that was the
Why would
last.
they why would they be so foolish, Dan?
I don't know. I think maybe it had maybe they thought the price was too high. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, this was a company that makes quite a bit of money every year. So we advised to do some things. They decided against it, and last Friday we got a frantic call from the owner that they couldn't get into their servers and some other things, and yeah, it's looking really bad. But luckily we were able to jump in and start helping them. But you know, here we are a week later, and the bill is getting very large.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a common objection, right, is always price. And obviously organizations don't have money until they need it, and here's a prime example of that. Could you I mean, don't obviously say the name of the company, but generally what industry is this organization in?
Yeah, this is manufacturing.
Okay, manufacturing. And when you did the cybersecurity risk assessment a year ago, what were some of the things that you guys saw, right, that were problems, like red
Yeah,
flags?
and we kind of see this a lot with manufacturing. Usually, a lot of older computers, even
Mhm.
some Windows 7 computers, because they've
Wow.
got such old software running that won't run on current computers. So, there's definitely a lot of risk there. This is a company where the owner is a little more hands on the IT side than what typically we see for a company their size.
Mhm.
Um, so I think he's been trying to do a lot of it himself, and so definitely there's kind of a lack of best practices being followed, and so yeah, they're in a bad spot, but hopefully everything is going to work out fine. We did have to bring in our uh, forensic team on this one,
Right.
so that's not cheap.
Nope. Yep. Costs are adding up all the time. Yeah. I mean, obviously, we talk about this often. There's a risk, right, of doing nothing. And again, many of the objections come around. Well, nothing's really going to happen to me. These risks that you're telling me about are not going to be exploited, or you're too expensive. I can't really do anything. But it seems like the more and more, right, that we do this, the more and more eventually it comes back to it catches up, right?
It does.
There is a cost of doing nothing, and here's a great example of that.
And I think I
Um,
think the biggest cost of doing nothing is that companies don't realize. I mean, if you do nothing, basically there's no guarantee you're going to get your data back.
right.
There's no if you don't have things in place to protect that data,
Yep.
even if you have cyber insurance, which this company didn't even have that. Cyber insurance can replace money, but it can't
Yep.
replace data.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Crazy story. I can't wait to see how this turns out. Obviously, I'm happy we've got our team involved in this. It's too bad that this couldn't have been prevented 12 months ago.
Yeah, and with it being Good Friday, I just anybody that's listening, please be vigilant. Usually, Good Friday is a big time day for attackers to try to do something to you over the Easter weekend. So just
Yeah, holidays are bad, right? IT IT people kind of take a break. You've got short staff teams, for support. Be staying vigilant. Yeah, and one last thing, we joke a little bit about the Alabama to North Dakota connection, right? I'm obviously from North Dakota. Dan is from Alabama, and so we often, if you've been paying attention, you noticed us joke about that. So Alabama, sweet. What is that? The Elite Eight.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
and
big win last night.
Big win, and largely in part due to their North Dakota State transfer, Grant Nelson.
Yeah. Grant had a big game. He balled out 12 of the last 14 points. And fantastic defensive performance down the stretch too. We were just talking about he's from Devils Lake, North Dakota, and Devils Lake just won the high school state Class 8 state championship in boys basketball this year, and I think that's the first time in over 100 years. So, lots of cool stuff. But anyway, Dan, any final thoughts at all about companies looking to get a cybersecurity risk assessment, or they've had one and are sitting there with a list of recommendations on what to do?
Yeah, I would, if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We have plans that can just kind of get you started at a fairly low price point, where at least you're doing something. And I would recommend doing something rather than nothing.
Something's better than nothing. Yeah.
It is.
All right. Well, you've been part of 3 minutes with Ken and Dan. Oh, it's getting worse and worse, Dan. We're going to keep working on that. Anyway, thanks, everybody.
We need to hire a professional singer for sure.
I think we do.